Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bang with Mikey, episode 241. Happy Sunday, good morning, and yeah. This topic or this podcast episode is gonna be about man, knowing how to know yourself and knowing when to like leave situations alone, right? Or knowing when to end shit. Um, I'm a big believer in walking away from situations after they don't serve you. Now I'm not saying ghost the person. I'm not saying do X, Y, and Z. I'm not saying block them. I'm not saying none of that. Because I for one I don't really believe in blocking people. It takes a lot for me to block people. Um, but I'm also a firm believer in knowing when to understand that your role in the situation is over. I got a couple friends of mine. I'm going through some relationship stuff, and one of my boys doesn't want to work it out, and everybody's pissed off at him. Everybody's mad. Everybody's got their opinion, and he was telling me this the other day, and I said, man, it doesn't matter because they're not the ones in this situation. They can have an opinion all they want, but it doesn't matter, you know. Like the main thing is that you have to figure out why you keep doing what you're doing. Why you keep stepping out of your marriage, why you do X, Y, and Z, yada yada yada. Because there's no point for you to try and fix things when you know your heart's not in it. Because it's like, look at what you've been doing. Behavior never lies. People do. I got another buddy of mine. Him and his girl they've been going through shit longer than I was. I mean, well, yeah. And I'm like, I looked at him and like, yo, you can sit there and have this conversation whenever you want to have it, but it's like it's not about timing, bro. It's like yeah, yes, timing is important, but yeah, your whole point of the conversation is to have the conversation. The timing, it's never a good time to have a conversation that you want to break up with your significant other, right? I don't care if you try to lessen the blow. I don't care what you try to do. It's like there's never a good time. Um, so yeah, there's that. Then I got another buddy of mine who's been married for about roughly 2 years, but it's like the problem is that he didn't know his wife, and so now all this shit's popping up, and he's telling me all this shit. I'm like, well, it could be age, bro. It could be this. It could be that. But it's like I asked him, how long were you dating before you and your wife got married? He said, oh, about 8 months or so. I'm like, oof, okay. You probably didn't know who you was marrying. And he was telling me like, yeah, like even when they were dating, she was coming over, spending the nights, X, Y, and Z, and like, oh, so she was basically living with you before you guys got married. And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, well, it sounds like there's no boundaries either, you know. And like I said, she's 24, he's 27. So I was like, yeah, age might play a role, bro. You know what I mean? But it just sounds like to me that you didn't know the person that you were marrying, and then now you're dealing with all this shit. And me myself is like, I don't force conversations. I don't do X, Y, and Z. Like we're not gonna have the conversation just simply because you want to have the conversation. We're not gonna do that. If I'm pissed at somebody, whether it's my girl, my family member, whatever it is, like I'll come back to the table when I'm cool, calm, and collected. I'm not coming back to the table fucking already heated. I'm not coming back to the table when like my emotions ain't in check. And so it's like at the end of the day, it's like you have to understand who you're dealing with. And I was reading this thing on Facebook. This reel popped up, and like guy was talking about how insecurities shows up in a relationship, right? And we've all dealt with it, you know, especially when who grew up in chaos or whatever it is, right? Like everybody's dealt with it. So with that being said, the real was talking about like how people think, oh, just because you're quiet, then it means that that means that you shut down. No, I've gone a whole week a few weeks talking to somebody who I was, romantically interested in. Was I mad? Was I sad? No. I just didn't have nothing to say, you know? And that's what it is, man. I think a lot of people just don't understand that it's okay to be different. It's okay not to be all up under somebody. It's okay not to be 100% consumed by this other individual. Because I've always felt that was weird. It's like couples that gotta, do everything together. It's like niggas can't even go to the grocery store, and your girl gotta go with you. Or like you want to go to the gym, do your fucking thing. Go to the gym. I don't give a fuck, and I don't. It's like, or it's like, I had this buddy of mine back in the day. Again, same thing. His girl had to come everywhere with him, and I'm like, why is she even here, dog? Like, nigga, this is a boys' night. You know what I mean? Or it's like, all the shit that us boys wanted to do, like she had to tag along. I'm like, God damn, bitch, what do you want? It's like, there's 5 niggas here. Like, your boy gonna be alright. Or it's like, it's just shit like that. It's like, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people don't know how to communicate, and people think they're excellent communicators. In reality, they're shit. I've come to think about it, I've never ghosted somebody. Yeah, I've never done that. I've had people ghost me. I've had people, do that to me, and I'm like, that's a shitty feeling, But then again, too, I'm not gonna sit there and over-explain myself. I'm not gonna sit there and be like, oh yeah, it's no, sorry, that happened. So there's that. I think that's extremely fucking weird when people do that shit. It's like, not only are you ghosting somebody, but you're also it's showing your character. I've had people dig up dirt on other people because they think they're doing something, and come to find out they're doing nothing at all. I've had people accuse people of doing shit, and like come to find out they're doing nothing at all. And it's like, oh snap, you want to accuse so and so of that, but you better come with some, with some ironclad proof. You better come with text messages, screenshots. You better come with videos. You better have a goddamn PI on me. You know what I mean? If you gonna do that shit, because it's like so many people are so insecure, and it's like, I was reading somewhere that when somebody's just used to chaos and conflict, and they actually get together with somebody who's healthy, and they start realizing, oh shit, all the shit that I was doing beforehand, I don't need to do anymore. It's difficult for them to adjust to that, and it is. I've had it happen to me. Most of the people I know have had it happen to them, and we have to constantly tell people, like, look, or constantly tell our girlfriends, like, look, we're not your exes, we're not this, we're not that. Please don't compare us to them, Because if for one thing a woman hates is basically being compared to another woman. I said what I said. And I think that's the most infuriating thing. When you're dating somebody and you can't get out of your own way. It's like Trip Fontaine famously said. He's like, man, if you're not ready to date, if you're still bitter over your baby daddy or baby mama, keep your ass in the house. And it's true. Like, people don't need to put up with your shit. People don't need to put up with your insecurities. People do not need to deal with the shit that you deal with. Yes, does it suck that you got divorced? Yes, does it suck that, so-and-so cheated on you? 100%. Yes, does it suck that they don't want to work it out? Yeah, 100%. Does it suck that they choosing themselves? No. I'm going to say it again. People who don't want to work things out, people who want to get divorced, they're choosing themselves. And, like, does it suck? No, because that's what you should be doing. You should be choosing yourself no matter what it is. Because like I said before in the beginning, everybody's going to have a fucking opinion. Everybody's going to have an opinion, and it really doesn't matter. It doesn't. Everybody has an opinion and it doesn't matter. And I think that's the most important thing. Yeah, you can have an opinion. The last time I checked, bro, my bills are paid every month. All my bills. You know, I'm investing money. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. I'm handling my shit as a grown man. Why the fuck do I need to know what you think about me? You know? Or why do I need to go off and explain myself to a motherfucker who's never gonna live the life I live? You know? Why do I need to do that? I don't. It's idiotic to sit there and justify how you moving to somebody else when that somebody else doesn't give a flying fuck. I tell you this much, man. Only people that care about me, 3 of them are dead, and 1 of them still alive. It's it's my grandmother, my brother, my dad, and my mom's. 4 people, dog. 4 people. That's it. You know? You know? My brother was my right-hand man. You know, that nigga kept me on the straight and narrow more than anything else. You know? And every once in a while, I still hear his voice in my head, too. So it was like, at the end of the day, you never have to justify yourself to anybody. Because why are you sitting there justifying yourself to people who's never gonna do what who's never gonna do what you've done? It's like, I can't talk to somebody what it's like to prepare for a national bodybuilding show because most of these people here that I know haven't done a national bodybuilding show. You know, or I can't talk about, moving to a different state and struggling and making choices and living with the consequences and doing X, Y, and Z because most of the people I grew up with here don't know what it's like. Of course they traveled, of course they've done X, Y, and Z, but they've never lived anywhere else. And so my main point, man, is like, do you be happy? Don't hurt anybody in the process, because that's just, that's not cool to do. And not every conversation's gotta happen, man. It's like you have to make peace with the fact that, hey, they don't want to work it out, cool. They don't want to talk to you, great. They want to dig up dirt to you, that's fine. Because you yourself gotta know, like, I've done nothing wrong. There's nothing that I'm doing that I'm not supposed to be doing. And you have to keep it moving like that, because it's idiotic for you to sit there and be like, oh well, I waited for this X, Y, and Z, yada yada yada. I'm like, no. It's like if that's the case with you, you wait forever. And I think a lot of people will do that. They'll sit there and wait for the person to make the first move, and it's like, why? Like, why do you feel the need to do that? It's like, if you want it, go get it. I don't care if you got a gang of kids. I don't care if you're single. I don't care if you're a virgin. I don't care if you, exploring different shit for the first time. Whatever it is, bro. It's like, if you want something, go out there and get it. And that's the most important thing, bro. Go after what you want, because we're not here for a long time, man. We're here for a short time. Not to make it about me and my brother, but I was expecting to grow older with him next to me. I'm expecting him to help me raise my kids if I ever have kids. Help me be the sounding board in life as as we progress older. I wasn't expecting to lose him at 35, man. I was expecting to lose his ass at 75, 80. Now I gotta go a whole lifetime without one of my best friends. I gotta go a whole lifetime without somebody that I talk to every day. One of the first people that I saw in the morning, or one of the last people I saw at night. So it's like, it's crazy to me how people don't stop and think about that. It's like, bro, we're only here for a short period of time. So do what you want to do. Crush your goals. Make sure you hit all your targets. And understand it's okay to fail, because fail does not mean fail. Fail means first attempt in learning. So do that what you will. Learn, man. make mistakes. You know, I'm 36 years old, bro. It's like, you think I got shit figured out? No, I'm like, most of us, you know, like, we're never gonna admit it to people, but I'll be the first to admit it. We're winging shit. You know, winging the fuck out of this because we don't know what to do for the most part. And it's like, I read somewhere that, like, you know, when you turn 18, legally, you're an adult, right? But the reality is, like, yeah, you're an adult, but there's so many things that happen to your body, like your prefrontal cortex doesn't fully develop to age 25, X, Y, and Z. So you're handling certain shit, and you're fumbling it because you don't know how to handle it correctly. And to be honest with you, man, it's like, I'm 36. I've only done 18 years of adulthood. I don't know everything. I don't pretend to know everything. I'm not going to sit here and say I know exactly what it is for X, Y, and Z, because I don't. But I do know one thing. If I can help somebody avoid the pitfalls and avoid the bullshit that comes with this life shit, you know, I'm going to do that. I'm not going to sit here and gatekeep. I'm not going to sit here and judge people because that's not fair to them. Why sit there and judge somebody who's going through some shit, you know? I don't care if it's, you know, you getting a divorce, you know, your spouse is cheating on you, X, Y, and Z. It's like, I'm not gonna sit there and judge you, bro. I'm gonna sit there and listen. Or I don't care if it's the same type of conversation that you and your spouse are having, and he or she doesn't get it. Like, I'll sit there and listen to it, man, because I understand it, bro. I understand what it's like to be stuck in a situation, and when you're dealing with somebody, and you're like, yo, why can't you say I love your goofy ass, you know? Or why can't you get right, you know? And it's like, a lot of it has to do with, majority of the time, people can't for whatever reason get out their own way. And you know what? It's because 80-20 rule. They got 80% of what they need, 80% of what they want. Family, good job, kids, whatever, house, the whole nine. But that 20%, bruh, that 20% be fucking motherfuckers up, you know? And that's what it is, man. It's like, you have to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And if you don't understand what you're doing, you got to sit down with yourself. Maybe go to therapy, maybe, you know, or maybe get a couple of good friends that you have complete confidence in, you know, and talk to them about it. Because you don't have to go through this by yourself. You know, everybody struggles, bro. And like I said, we're all winging this shit, bro. Like, we're not sitting there saying, oh, well, we got everything figured out, because it's like, as great as Michael Jordan was, right? Last thing, he missed 9,000 shots in his career. But you know what? You still gave him the rock at the end, you know, at game point. That's what you did. The stats didn't matter. The stats didn't matter that he shot, that he shot 9,000 plus attempts for shot, for jump shots, and he missed. So trust in what you're doing, trust yourself, and understand that it's okay. You're gonna make mistakes, we all make mistakes, but you gotta learn from it, right? Anyway, y'all, this is about 19 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keeping the 4 P's. Private player, positive pushing. I'll see y'all next week, Sunday. I love y'all. Like I always say, know your worth because you're better than what you are. All right, y'all. Peace. Have a good Sunday, yeah. Later.